Hello everyone. So look what's been going on here. The rats have been chomping on my succulents. This one too. And these ones too, there's some old rat damage on the tips of these now. These ones too, some old damage to the tips here. And these ones were chomped on as well a while back. They've been recovering since. This one had been completely destroyed about a year ago, and it looks like some of the babies are surviving and coming back, thank goodness. This poor succulent was completely killed. It was a large succulent, and they just chewed it down to the nub, and it still hasn't come back. So I've come up with a few ways that will hopefully prevent the rats from eating your succulents. And most importantly, they're humane ways. I love all animals, and yes, I even love rats, and I don't want to harm them. So I just want to come up with ways that are preventative and good ways to repel the rats and keep them from eating the succulents. So one thing I've noticed is that the rats will only eat certain succulents, the ones that they probably find delicious, and they don't touch any of my cactus. They haven't bothered those, or these ones, or these dragon fruit, or anything that has spikes. They seem to stay away from them. So I started looking around my yard and looking for other things that replicate cactus or thorns or spikes. And I have these raspberry bushes or blackberry bushes, I'm not sure what they are, but they're kind of invasive. They grew over into our yard from the neighbors, and I've actually used these before to keep the snails out of the garden boxes, where I just take the branches, cut them up into pieces, and put them around the soil and kind of use them as a mulch to repel the snails. And I'm going to do that with these guys in my succulent pots. Another thing that I found in my yard growing as a weed are these thistle plants. And I've been needing to take these out, and this is a good opportunity. If you look at the stems, they have these thorns all the way down, so I can cut those up and drop those around my succulent pots on the soil. Use that as mulch. And there's also these little round flowers. I can easily cut off these little ones because they're spiky. All of these little ones that haven't gone to seed yet. And I can drop those at the base of my succulent pots. And I'll go ahead and cut off a few to show you what I'm talking about. All right, so I'm gonna skip ahead to one of the other techniques that I have found to work to keep the rats from eating my succulents. And that is this technique right here, where you use a net bag over the succulent and you pull it tight to keep the rats from going up in there. And this has worked really well on this one. This one was chewed down to the nub on all of the leaves. They completely chewed off all of the leaves, except they left a little bit of the nub, so they didn't kill this one, thank goodness. And it's already been growing back, and now it's getting too big for this bag, so I'm gonna have to take it out of here. But I just wanted to show you, I've done this to a couple of my other succulents. These little bags are smaller, and I actually had used like party favor bags, and you just turn them upside down, put them over your succulent, and then pull the string to protect them. So these bags, actually you could find larger bags than these. Here's some bags that you could find online, and you could just search fruit protection bags. A lot of people use these to put around their fruits on their fruit trees to protect them from birds, but they also work well for rats. And they're a little pricey, 100 of them for $22, $16, $23. So that's another option. There's also this other mesh netting that I found that came from the produce store, actually, where they kept the fruits inside of here. But these can work as well. So how I would use something like this, the good thing about this, it's already tied off. They also come like this that aren't tied off, but you could probably tie a little rubber band around one end. But how I would use this one is I would just open it up and put it over the plant and over the pot, and just take a rubber band and just put the rubber band around it and give the plant a little bit of room. And that's another way to keep the rats out. All right, so back to using my spiky thistle weeds as a way to keep the rats out. You're definitely going to want to wear gloves, and trust me, the rats are not going to like these because they are dangerous and spiky. Cut off those tops. You could drop them around the bottom of the plant. If yours doesn't have those tops, you could just use the stems and cut them up into pieces. Even these leaves have spikes on them, so I could use those. And just cut them up. Cut up the leaves too. All right, so I cut up all of my thistle, and I could just scoop it up. I don't want to handle it. If I have a whole bunch of these, I could just fill up this whole pot with these, and they would make a really cute little mulch and keep the rats from stepping into this pot so that they could reach up and eat the leaves. I could also drop in these leaves and stems, and boy, these are spiky. And here's the thorned raspberry, and there's even thorns on these stems, but what I'm going to do is cut the leaves off because the rats would easily climb all over those. And discard the leaves. And here I can use all of these little spikes as a mulch, and the branch, I can cut them up into little pieces to lay those around the base of my plant as well. And I could just scoop those up and then drop them around the pot and spread them up and cut up more, but you get the idea. So another good way to keep the rats away is to get a good rat terrier dog. This isn't actually a terrier. I don't know what she is, but she does love hunting rats, and she also likes hunting lizards. But the only problem with her, the reason she doesn't work, is because she's a sissy dog. She won't stay outside alone. She has to follow me everywhere. But she is a really good hunter. The other thing about having a good rat terrier dog, or a dog that likes to hunt rats, is they're going to need to be outdoors at night because that's when the rats come out. And this dog, she's an indoor sissy dog, and that's not going to work because if we leave her outside, she'll yap all night. Another idea that I came up with to replicate the cactus spikes was I found a little piece of styrofoam, and I just got some regular pins and I just stuck them through the back. And if you make enough of these, you could just drop them in your pots if you have the room. I mean, these are really sharp and pointy, so I don't think the rats would want to go through that. The only thing is you would have to make it cover all areas around your plant. Or maybe even another idea, if you made a bunch of these, it just takes a lot of time to stick the pins through there. You could just lay them around your pots, going all the way around to keep them from stepping too close to your pots. But this takes a lot of time, and I kind of gave up on this idea. Another thing you can use are these humane rat traps, but I would caution you about using these. Don't use them unless you have the time and the place to catch and release these. Don't even set them up unless you know you're going to check them first thing in the morning and you have a place to take them directly to drop them off. A place that's going to be humane for them, where they can survive, where there's going to be water and brush. Because you don't want to just drop them at any location out in the middle of nowhere. It needs to be a location suited for them where they can find food and shelter and water. And you also want to have these in a shaded area. You don't want to put them in direct sunlight. It would be inhumane to leave a rat in this cage for any amount of time in the direct sun. So it needs to be a shaded area. And when you use these, you have to know how to use them, because they do work. But I'm just going to tell you right now, if you use them, it's not going to work if you just place these on the ground, out in the middle of nowhere, in the open. A rat, I'm just going to tell you right now, a rat is not going to just say, oh, today I'm just going to walk right up into this rat trap and go right in there and let myself get trapped. No, that's not how these work. You have to lure the rats in. And I just want to show you how easy these are to set up. You just pull this, slide this up, pull this down, and then you set this little trigger right there. You put the food on that plate, that metal plate, and the way to lure the rats in is in front of the opening. You're going to drop some seeds or nuts on the ground, even toss them inside to lure them inside, and they're going to smell the peanut butter that's in there, and they're going to want to go eat it. And once they go inside and they step on that, where the peanut butter is, it shuts. And as far as a good location, you want to get an area where there's a lot of brush and along the edge of something. And you could place it like this, where it's hidden, sprinkle the food out in the front, and that way the rat will feel safe to go in there, rather than just placing it out in the middle of nowhere on an open floor. And this is a good spot here. It's shaded, it's protected from the sun. And like I said, you want to check these first thing in the morning, be ready to go to put them in your car and drive them out. And I'm just telling you right now, don't even set these up if you're not going to have time to take them first thing in the morning. And don't just buy one trap, buy several traps, because rats are smart. You know, if you trap one and their buddy sees them in there trying to get out and hears them, the rats are smart. They're going to catch on and they're going to know, oh, that's a trap. Stay away from there. So if you do decide to use these humane traps, get several of them and you'll be fine. Another idea to protect your plants would be if you had a lot of this netting, and if you were able to cut off sheets of it, you could actually, this is too small for this saucer, but if you had a larger piece, what you could do is just completely cover it and have it go all the way to the ground and just place rocks around here. And just imagine it being completely protected. That would be one idea of protecting your succulents. Please don't use rat pellets to kill your rats. The problem with rat pellets is that what happens is the rats will gather up the pellets, take them from the location that you put them in, and they'll hide them someplace in a different location in your yard, or they can hide them in their nest or bury them or whatever. And what happens is that your pets will come along and pick up the pellets, and your pet will eat them, and they will kill your pets, your dogs or your cats or whoever, birds or whoever eats these. So please, please, please don't use pellets to kill rats. Even your kids could pick them up and eat them if you have little babies, little toddlers. Now, I forgot that I had this, but these really work. This one's really, really old, but I remember using it years and years ago, and it works. And my batteries are dead on it. I just need to get new batteries, but you basically turn it on, and on the back, this one shows me what each level that you set it to will repel. It can repel cats, dogs, skunks, opossum, armadillos, and raccoons. But I remember this also works for rats too. And this one is called an outdoor pest repeller, battery powered, so it'll be good to use outside. And I don't think they make these ones anymore. This is the brand right here, Y-Tech. But from what I remember, how it works is that it has a sensor, so that when the critter walks near it, or a few feet away from it, it will flash a red light and it'll chirp. And oh, did you see that? It actually triggered. Maybe my batteries are still good after all these years. So I heard a little chirp. Let me turn it up all the way to number 7. Did you hear that? So it's set all the way up to repel all of these animals, including raccoons. And so at nighttime, that little red light will just flash. That light will startle them and they'll take off and run. Yeah, so this does still work. That's awesome that I could show you that, because I thought the batteries were dead. But these can be pricey. So I just did a search for outdoor pest repeller, ultrasonic rats. There's a lot of different ones that are coming up. This one is $49, $29. So yeah, you could do a search on there to try to find something. And yeah, these work really well. I should actually set this up by my little succulent garden. All right, everyone, so I just wanted to give you a few different ways that I came up with that you can help to keep the rats from eating your succulents. And if you have rats, hopefully some of these ideas will help you. If you have any other humane ideas, you could leave them in the comments below. Thank you. Have a great day.